Hi, everyone. It's Wednesday. Welcome back. Let's get Julian over. Okay. Hey, Julian. How's it going?
Oh, let me mute a couple things here. It is going pretty darn well for a Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. Boy, that's flew by already.
Happy
Looking at
hump day.
happy hump day. How was
Feliz
your
miércoles.
Feliz miércoles? How was your
Yep.
Thanksgiving?
It was amazing. How about yours?
It was great. Good. Lots of food, lots of laughter, lots of love, gratitude, and thankfulness. So exactly what the doctor prescribed and ordered, and I'm full on a few different levels.
That sounds amazing because that's the holiday spirit, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Here in the US, it's November, December though. In Mexico, it's only December.
yeah. Well, we're here, there, anywhere. I'll take what all I can get.
Right. Well, I'll take the food. I'll definitely take the family and the laughter and the sharing.
Yeah, sharing is caring, right? So,
Yep.
uh,
So
but
today, let's tell him. Should we get into what we're going to be talking today?
yeah, yeah. So we wanted to kind of lean into your home. Who's your home buying team? Um, when you're purchasing a home, you're kind of putting together, or should be putting together, a dream team, so to speak, of real estate professionals to help guide you through the process, and kind of help you navigate through or around some of the pitfalls that can occur. So we kind of wanted to highlight a few of those, break them down, and take any questions as we go through.
For sure. Dream
Can you hear me?
team
Oh, I think you're
is
muted.
the
No.
key word here.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
So, oh, I'm just saying dream team is the key word here, or words, I guess. It's very important. We say it every time we talk to you guys. It's very, very, very important who you choose to work with. So pay extreme attention. This is more so throughout the transaction. Who are those key components and players that are going to benefit you the most and guide you through the whole process, right? Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I will
Well,
I will start with saying you have two of them right here. You have two of the key players to help you purchase that home right in front of you currently. And I'll tell you from the real estate side what my job is. The end goal is to help you buy that home, right? But the process is very important. The biggest job I have to do is to protect your interests when you're buying, right? Above all, whatever that means, is guide you, protect you, and take care of you throughout the transaction. So, what this means is I'm going to guide you step by step through the process, which includes explaining the contracts to you. It also includes going through the inspection period, negotiations, and any questions that may come through this process. Whether I have the answer for you or not, I'll make sure I'll find it if I don't know it. And then with that comes along the mortgage lender. What are
yeah,
you going to do for our buyers?
yeah. So the real estate agent and mortgage lender are a tandem, a team that kind of do a give and go, if you will. We lean on each other quite a bit to help guide the buyer in the best way possible. But from a lending perspective, there's a lot of work that goes into the pre-contract process, which helps ease you into, okay, now we're here, we're under contract. Let's really, break down our numbers from sales price to down payment to monthly payment, interest rate, obviously, of course, closing costs, cash to close. You get really clear on what those items will look like. Now, like you mentioned, there's some moving pieces and targets along the way. but we're building that foundation of what to expect and helping you kind of be able to pivot based on the different stages of the process. But most importantly, what I want to do is make you comfortable with the numbers that go behind it. Again, your monthly payment, because that's what you really live with, not so much the price you pay for a home. It's the amount you pay monthly. So that's what we want to get clear on. And there's a few again pieces to this puzzle that help us, put the glue between them. So that and kind of again just inform you and educate you on each step of the process. There's a lot of hands in the pot, and like I said, between the real estate agent and myself, we are kind of the point guards, if you will, to let you know where you need to move next.
Here's a little tip for our buyers, precisely on what you just talked about and mentioned on that monthly payment. You know that once you're pre-qualified, you don't have to spend all the money that you were pre-qualified for, right? So in hopes that this brings a conversation with your lender and you talk to them and you say, this is the monthly payment that I feel comfortable with. And that's what then the mortgage lender is going to talk to me and say, Ariana, this is your max purchase price in order to keep our client in that safe zone where they want to stay or where you want to stay, right?
Yeah, yeah. During the consultation process, we talk about that in depth. What is your ideal monthly mortgage payment? What is your maximum monthly mortgage payment that you're comfortable with? Um, and that may be a lot different from what you qualify for. And so that's where we get clear and give you, concise instructions on what price points to look at and what our strategies and negotiations will be. But
Right.
um, that's how the real estate agent and mortgage lender help you. Again, once you're under contract and start to move through the process.
And alongside with that, there's a lot of other um, key people, companies that are involved in this process. And we're just briefly going to talk about them eventually in one of our future live streams. We're going to go in depth and we're going to start bringing these key members to help to explain and talk a little bit more about what they do. But first, I kind of want to talk about the title company. What does the title company do? Generally speaking, right? Because there's a lot of things that involve with what they do, right?
Yeah,
So, just generally speaking, from my perspective, is the very first things they're going to be our point of contact to deposit that earnest money when we go under contract. And they will be also the ones that are going to give you all the documentation you need to sign for closing time. So I'm able to give you the keys, right? But there's a lot of nuances that they take care of,
yeah. So real
right?
quick, what is earnest money, Ariana?
So earnest money is a deposit that is made once we're under contract, and that comes from the buyer, and title company holds on to it, but it's credited back at the end of the transaction. And it's just really a deposit where the buyer is showing in good faith that they have all the intention of purchasing the home.
Got it. So that's
That's
why it's important to have the title company, a third party that's independent to either side of the transaction to hold that money.
correct.
Got it. Okay. Uh,
Correct. So all title companies have, generally speaking, they have the same role, but the difference between them is going to be the fees they charge. They vary. Everybody
of
has a
course.
different fee. It may not vary by much, but it does. The service, kind of like us, is a service.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, when we start recommending certain either title companies. So once we start going into these, who is going to help you through the process, I just want to clarify they're all recommendations. You're never obligated to use any of them. all of these companies are relationships. We've been working with them for a long time. So, kind of like Julian and I, that I know that if I need something on a particular buyer that is imperative that I may find out like right now, I can call him, I can text him, and I know he's going to respond because he knows that I'm calling because it's important. So
Right.
that is when that comes very handy when you have those relationships since we're doing it for a while. So
Yeah.
that that is why we
Yeah.
recommend them, right?
That's the point of a team, right? You have a chemistry built together through going to battle, so to speak, with one another, and you get to know each other, how you work, and what you expect, and that's why a lot of this is relationship based, because we have expectations, and when we receive that great service, then we continue to build on that. So but at the end of the day, I guess who chooses a title company?
I guess, and I say I guess because it really depends on what kind of market we're in. Typically,
Fair enough.
I'm going to say the buyer. The
Yeah.
buyer has the power to choose that title company. If our buyers don't have a title company, they don't have the experience, they don't know who to go for, that's when we kind of step in and we give you recommendation, right? Again, recommendation. But then, if you asked me this question a few months ago, listing agents were dictating this. And I say
Yeah.
listing agents because as much as we want to say that the seller was choosing the title company, 99% of the time, it's not. It's the listing agent. And again, it's just because it's based on that relationship that we build with the escrow officer, right?
Yeah.
So currently, buyer.
Got it. Good. Okay. So that's the title company. So again, to kind of recap the title, they're going to hold the earnest money. The fees are going to vary from one company to the next. It's really based on relationships. It's a twin cost when it comes to who chooses it. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is that they're providing a great service to the end buyers.
Correct. You nailed it. That's exactly what it is. So then another important piece of the puzzle is the inspection company, right? This is a general inspection, guys. Once we go under contract, the next step, we have our inspection period. We want to make sure that you are really doing your due diligence in anything that you deem important, right? We can only suggest and recommend. I'm not an inspector. I can't tell you what's right and wrong on the home. So we have to rely on companies that do this for a living to determine what are areas of concern, right? So we start with a general inspection, and based upon that and the inspector's recommendations, that we start getting into specialized inspections if needed. It doesn't happen all the time. It really depends on the condition of the home. It could be age related, sometimes roof. Um, Another thing could be a pool or a spa. So
Yeah.
then, we base it upon that.
Yeah, there's a number of different components, to a home, right? So depending on, it's just kind of like you go to a doctor, you wouldn't go to an ear, nose, and throat doctor when you're having, when you have a broken ankle, right? They're not going to know how to treat it. So, you go to your general physician, and then they refer you out to specialists, and that's
Correct.
how the home inspection process kind of works.
Exactly.
Great.
Okay. Then on your end, what do we have?
Yeah. So on our end is the appraisal. So the appraiser is, uh, accomplishing a few different things. One is to determine the home estimated value, or opinion of value, because that's all it truly is at the end of the day. They're going to do a search on the recent sales and comparables to homes that are, again, in similar size and square footage and lot size and things of those nature, and make adjustments to come up with the value. But aside from determining the value of the home, they're also looking to make sure that there aren't any hazardous conditions that exist in the home. So, some of the top items that can come back in an appraisal report might be, exposed wires, evidence of leaks, um, missing
Broken
shingles on
window.
broken windows. There's a handful of common items that, again, working with an experienced real estate agent when you're doing the inspection can kind of point these things out and try to cover those up front. But um, the appraiser, again, majority of their job is to determine value and make sure it's safe and sound for the buyer.
So let me
Um,
ask you this. So who orders that appraisal? Is it you or me?
so the lender orders that appraisal, and there are very strict rules in terms of the contact and communication between the lender and the appraiser. Obviously, what came out of the 2008 housing crisis was part of the standards when it came to appraisals. So there is a third-party appraisal management company. So it's again just a general company that contracts appraisers. They have a pool of appraisers to choose from. So we contact the management company, and then they place the order out there, and get the appraiser to accept the job and go to the property to perform the inspection.
Okay, so if I'm hearing correctly, then you order it, you place it on this pool of appraisers, and then somebody gets it, and then those are the ones, so you have nothing to do with them, right?
No, I don't know who it is, what their number is. Any communication that we need. If I need to get an update, I have to go through that appraisal management company, and they've got all their certifications and licensing, and they have done extensive research on the appraisers within the pool to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that they are, again, licensed, certified, and meet regulatory compliance and regulations. So I have nothing to do with it, and I have
Okay.
the arm's length is what is what they call it.
Right. So, okay. So, quick little thing here for you buyers out there, try and look into this. Or I hope you're finding everything that we're sharing extremely important and helpful, right? But for an appraisal, the buyer does not have to be there. Now, mind you, if we were talking about the listing side, and I'm not talking about the client, now I'm talking on the real estate side, I would be there, right? Because I want to make sure that the home appraises and do the best job for my sellers. But on the buy side, you do not have to be present. Unlike the inspection, you're not obligated to be on the inspection or any of the inspections, certain inspections, um, but it's highly recommended because you get to see the inspector and you get to talk about certain things. I just wanted to touch on it real quick before I forgot, right?
Yeah, that's a good
But
point.
but then so okay, so the appraiser, the lender orders it, and then the buyer pays for it, and it's ordered, and then we just wait for it. It usually takes about maybe 5 to 7 business days, and then we get a report back. That report, um, lender gets it and the buyer gets it.
Right.
I don't technically get it, but then like Julian will forward it to me, and because that's another piece of negotiation if the home doesn't appraise to the value that we're looking for, right? And we can keep talking about appraisals, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. We could
we're
go
trying
on
to
for
keep it
days.
short and
Yeah.
sweet.
So that's another kind of shadow team member there. We don't have any communication with them or limited communication, but it's an important piece of the puzzle.
It is, as well as an insurance company, right?
Yeah.
Because we have to make sure that the home you're purchasing qualifies to be insured, and that you know what that fee is going to be for you. So as soon as you're under contract, Julian's probably going to get to you and say, I need who your insurance company is going to be.
Yeah, yeah. The other, important thing that an insurance company can do is look at the claims history. So that is quite important. You want to know if there was a pipe that bursted and it flooded the house, and maybe you do need to go a little deeper with your home inspection and make sure it was repaired properly. There's no mold. Things of that nature, or they can confirm if a roof has been replaced or repaired. You'd be surprised at things that come back on a what they call a clues report through a home insurance company.
Yeah.
um, and also making sure that there is sufficient coverage. The unfortunate does happen, and unforeseen, that I've had clients that had, grease fires in the house, and had to make a claim, and fortunately they had sufficient coverage, and a good company that can walk them through the claims process. But um, from contracts perspective, again, getting a competitive quote, and also leveraging them to get a little recon on the property that might help you with your inspection, and consequently your negotiations.
Right. Because then insurance company, guys, you do have to have the home insured in order to get a mortgage. So this is very important. Start your due diligence as far as which company, if you need to, quote it around, do so. But then another thing very important is not to be confused with mortgage insurance. Home insurance and mortgage insurance are two separate things. Do you want to elaborate a little bit about the difference, Julian?
Yeah, absolutely. So home insurance is kind of like I mentioned. If the house burns down, like, you call your home insurance company and start that process of rebuilding the home. The mortgage insurance, quite frankly, does absolutely nothing for a homeowner. It's a protection for the lender in the event that you default on the loan. Then the lender can make a claim against that mortgage insurance to recoup some of the money that they lost through foreclosure. So they're very distinctly different insurances. One is for the homeowner, one is for the lender. They're both required to, well, depending on how much you put down, the mortgage insurance is required. Home insurance is required no matter how much you put down.
Right. That is a great comparison. So I think if we could go a little bit into about the typical questions that we get, and then we'll just kind of recap
Sure.
on on what we just discussed. Um, I just want to say, again, the way, because I get this question a lot, right? Like, how will I know which inspections do we need, right, to perform on any given home? Well, I usually say this is my response. Let's get the general inspection completed, unless there is something that is of extreme importance to you. Get it done immediately, right? If it's important to you, then you schedule it and no problem. We could get it done. But usually that's going to give you a general idea, is going to paint the bigger picture. And then the inspector will recommend if any other additional or specialized inspection needs to happen. And at that point, you can determine it's a discussion, right? That's one of the questions that I usually get.
Yeah, and one of the questions that I usually get again is kind of the what's the difference between an appraisal and home inspection? Um, and again, the real difference between those two are, the appraisal is more for, to be honest, for a lender. Again, determine the home's value and make sure that it's safe and sound. That you know there's not a pool that's empty and somebody can trip, fall, break their neck, sue you as the homeowner, and now there's a lien, which again pose a threat to the lender's first lien position. Um, the inspection is more for your knowledge and understanding of the condition of the home. Um, these are things that you absolutely want to know about. Everything is cool and dandy for that first year when you're in the home, right? And then as you live in the property and occupy it over a course of 2, 3, 5, 7 years, there's maintenance. Every single home needs it.
What?
um, and so these are things that we try to educate folks on, is that aside from owning the home, there's cost beyond the closing date. But anyway, I digress. The main difference between the appraisal and home inspection is, one is for the lender, the other is for your own protection and knowledge.
So, and then on a side note too, talking about maintenance and everything that needs to happen after close, it's, that's where the home warranty comes handy. It's not required. You're not mandated to get one. It's optional. But because you don't know how the home has been treated, I mean, the inspection gives you a general idea, but we can't inspect all. Uh, sometimes just things come to an, end of life, end of cycle, and they start breaking down. So the home warranty kind of protects you for that first year. It is a fee you have to pay. It can be negotiated. Again, there's a lot of negotiations going right now, in this market, that where the buyer can benefit a lot, but that is optional, guys. And usually, I recommend I give you different links. They have different packages. You just have to look into what best covers your particular situation, or your interests, right? Because it could be as small as appliances, and it could be as big as, AC and plumbing and pipes and all these other things that we
Yeah,
can't see, you know.
right. Yeah, there's so many components to a home that again you don't really understand or realize it until you live in it and one of those breaks, and then
Mm-hmm.
you wish you had a home warranty um, to cover it or to mitigate some of the expenses that goes on with it. So there's again, this is why we wanted to point this out to have this conversation today. Is that there are a lot of uh, people involved with helping you purchase a home,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where professionals like you and I can help you understand who's the reputable and trusted companies and what they do and offer the protections, and to help you make the best decision now and for years to come.
Exactly. So just recapping real quick, who do you need on your side? You need a real estate professional. You need a mortgage lender. You need a title company. You're going to need a insurance company. You're going to need inspection. Did I miss anybody? Appraisal.
Yeah.
Some of them you get to choose, some of them you don't get to choose, but for the majority you do have a say. And we do have, if you don't know anybody that does these type of services, we are well connected. We can certainly pass on all these great amazing companies that we work with, so you can have that great service that we've gotten throughout the time.
Yeah, no, it's super important to put that dream team together, and we've got the pieces to recommend if you don't have them already. Um, but those are the top five, and there's a couple bench players, if you will, that help support us.
Yes.
We can only do so much by ourselves, but yeah, that's the gist of what we wanted to cover here, and we'll break down in the next coming weeks, right? As we start to invite
Yes.
specific uh, people that we have in our circles of influence in those industries that'll come in and break down further what they do and how they help. So stay tuned for that.
For sure. So, again, we hope you're finding educational, interesting, everything we have to say and share. We're happy to be here. We're happy to share what we know. At any point, just reach out, text us, call us, whichever way, DM us. If you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, however you want to reach us, our information is everywhere. You can find us, as always, on Instagram. Below is our information. Facebook is right on the screen. And I guess until next time, until next Wednesday.
Till next Wednesday. Great to be here. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, Julian. See you next week.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.